Mr. Klein, as Premier and Environment Minister and Mayor and all of the many roles that you've played over the years in government, you had a lot of responsibility for the environment over the years, more or less in different jobs. How did you first become involved in environment or sustainability
Well,
issues?
I asked for it, believe it or not.
And
because there were problems related to woodland practices and dioxin and furan being dumped into the rivers.
so the pulp, that was in the era of
Yeah.
a lot of the new pulp mills and stuff.
Yeah.
And so how did that turn out? Today, you know, as you look back.
It turned out well. I became the premier.
I meant for the environment as well. Do you think that was a reasonably successful
Yeah.
engagement?
We conducted the first public hearing into, I believe Rob McIntosh was on the panel. And the first public hearing was held into a pulp mill. And they refused it.
Huh. It was a really big deal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a very interesting process.
It was a very interesting process.
And what was a highlight for you, as you recall?
The highlight was, as Environment Minister, was rewriting all the rules and regulations.
Mr. Klein,
And forming it into one act.
so what do you think the biggest challenge then for the oil industry is on, do you think it's climate change?
Yeah.
And
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
And the oil companies are doing as much as they can to address environmental concerns.
Mr. Klein, the Pembina Institute was founded in the 1980s in a small place called Drayton Valley, Alberta. And it was founded actually because of an accident in the oil industry, the sour gas blowout at Lodgepole. And you know, that was an event, obviously, that was, some have referred to it as one of the biggest industrial accidents in Canadian history. I mean, you could smell the sour gas as far away as Winnipeg. I'm told. I wasn't in Winnipeg. I was here. But
Neither was I.
So, how do you think things have changed since then? You know, that was a long time ago, 25 years ago.
The Pembina Institute has come a long way. I don't always agree with him, and haven't always agreed with him. But they are concerned, legitimately concerned, about the environment and the role they play in protecting the environment.
Do you think people know, you know, Pembina is known, and especially today, for probably a couple of issues, climate change and maybe oil sands. Do you think people know that the Institute actually spends the majority of its time doing collaborative work and consulting work and all sorts of other work? Do you think people know?
I think, well, I don't know. I know as government, Pembina Institute used to see me from time to time.
And what do you think of the idea of collaboration? You know, when you take an organization that looks into environmental effects like the Institute, and you have governments interested.
I think it's absolutely necessary. Collaboration is necessary. Cooperation is necessary.
One of the big processes that your government and the Institute entered into was the CASA process. Do you look at that as a success?
Yeah.
And if so, why?
It addressed clean air.
And some would say the achievements in there have been quite significant. Actually, other people I've interviewed, Bob Page and Linda Duncan and many other people that I've talked to, said that CASA really is a landmark.
You know, if it's government sponsored, then it's no good.
And so here you had to be partners at the table.
Yeah.
And is that the key?
Yeah.
Why can't that process be replicated easily?
It can be, but I'm out of politics.
What do you think, if anything, industry can or should do to respond to climate change better? Is there anything that the oil industry should be doing or could be doing?
The oil companies are not given credit enough for the steps that they're taking to address climate change.
Do you think that's because the conversation's gotten a little bit shrill?
Yeah.
And so what do we do to fix that conversation?
Get politics out of it.
And how do we do that?
I don't know.
It's difficult, isn't it? So is there a compromise? Like, what is the compromise that we should be working towards to help, to help industry find a good face on what they're doing and to actually find solutions,
I think that the organizations like the Pembina Institute need to recognize what the oil companies are doing to address climate change.
Right. It seems Ottawa and Alberta seem to be betting pretty heavily on carbon capture and storage as a possible solution. What do you think of that?
Well, I don't know about the economics.
Right. It seems, though, from the studies that we're aware of at the Institute, that it's going to take a variety of solutions to properly address the issue.
Carbon, I'm more concerned about coal.
Right.
And clean burning coal.
And so how do we do that?
I don't know. I'm not a technologist.
So carbon capture and storage that's where the carbon capture and storage is a better solution, possibly. Because
well, I don't know.
What about diversifying our energy supply, especially in the sphere of electricity? What do you think?
Electricity is good, but try and build a dam. There are environmental problems with every technology. Try and build a dam to generate electricity. Try and build a wind farm.
Right.
There are huge problems. Try and build a solar panel or a field of solar panels.
So do you think that there need to be more conversations about that stuff? Because obviously it's a little challenging no matter which way you go.
Yeah.
And so
there needs to be a conversation.
Do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah.
That we have a national energy strategy that defines the role of the different energy supplies?
Yeah.
Mr. Klein, what was your favorite moment in politics?
The favorite moment was eliminating the debt.
Of course. Of course. That's all I can think of. Is there anything you'd like to offer?
No.
Thank you very much, Mr. Klein.
Thank you.